Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a journey, really diving into a fascinating place, Rishikesh. And this is all thanks to the great sources you, our listener, sent over.
Yeah, Rishikesh, it presents this really captivating paradox, right from the start. It's celebrated all over the world as the yoga capital, right? A huge magnet for spiritual seekers.
Definitely.
But at the same time, it's equally known as this vibrant hub for adventure sports.
Right.
And it's this unexpected coming together, this sort of dance between inner peace and, well, thrilling activity that we really want to unpack today.
Exactly. We've got a fantastic collection of articles and info here that paint a really vivid picture. And our mission, basically, is to get beyond the surface level and truly grasp the unique essence of Rishikesh.
What makes it tick?
Yeah, what is it about this one place that lets it hold such strong appeal across these worlds that seem so different? Spirituality and adventure. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Where exactly is it?
Geographically, okay, so Rishikesh is nestled in the Dehradun district of Uttarakhand, right in the foothills of the Himalayas, along the banks of the Ganga River, the sacred Ganga.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, it's often called the gateway to the Garhwal Himalayas.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of tells you about its crucial position, geographically and maybe even strategically for anyone heading further into the mountains.
Yeah, you can almost picture it. The calm flow of the Ganga with those massive peaks behind it.
Exactly.
It's a place where, like our sources show, you could see meditating monks in complete stillness.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe just moments later, hear the shouts of rafters coming down the rapids.
Yeah. It's quite a contrast.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, what is it about this specific spot that can handle and even attract such different kinds of energy?
Well, maybe we should look at its deeper roots, beyond just the landscape, its spiritual side, its mythology.
Good idea. Let's delve into that.
Well, what's really striking is how deeply Rishikesh is woven into, the fabric of ancient Hindu tradition. Our sources mention it being called a tapasya bhumi in ancient scriptures, a land for penance, for spiritual austerity. And there's this very strong belief that Lord Rama himself did penance right here after defeating Ravana.
Wow. Okay. That immediately gives the place a profound spiritual weight.
Absolutely. And even the name itself, Rishikesh, carries a lot of meaning.
Right. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, it comes from Sanskrit. Rishi means sage.
Uh-huh.
And Kish, well, in this context, it's understood as another name for Lord Vishnu, meaning Lord of the Sages.
So from the very name, there's this ancient link to wisdom, to the divine.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, well, you can start to see why Rishikesh naturally became such a key center for yoga and meditation.
It's like the history and the energy of the land itself made it fertile ground for what it is today.
Precisely, for its modern identity as the yoga capital of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that title, it's not just, some catchy phrase. It's recognized internationally.
Oh, for sure.
Our sources talked about the annual International Yoga Festival held every March. It draws people, practitioners, teachers from, everywhere, all corners of the globe.
It really shows its central role in the global yoga scene.
Definitely.
And what's fascinating is that it's not just one type of yoga, right? The sources point out several major ashrams, each with its own sort of approach.
Like which ones?
Well, there's Parmarth Niketan, described as one of the biggest, suggests a pretty diverse place.
Okay.
Then you have Sivananda Ashram, which is known for its more classical traditional teachings, for those maybe looking for that foundational path.
Right. And then the Beatles Ashram.
Ah, yes. The Beatles Ashram. Almost mythical, isn't it?
It really is. And here's where it gets super intriguing.
Yeah.
This, unexpected collision of Eastern spirituality and Western pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
Their stay back in '68, it wasn't just some celebrity trip. It's widely thought it massively influenced their music.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, it really boosted global awareness, global interest in Indian spirituality.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how that one event still shapes its image today, doesn't it?
Totally.
And this brings up a key question. Why do people go to Rishikesh for yoga and meditation? What's the core drive?
Good question. What do the sources say?
Well, they point to a few compelling reasons. The chance for really immersive, intensive yoga practice, an opportunity to sort of detoxify mind and body in a peaceful setting.
Right. The setting must be key.
Definitely. And the fact that there are highly respected teacher training programs there.
Ah, that's a big draw, too.
Yeah. And maybe just the simple, profound experience of meditating surrounded by all that powerful nature. It seems to offer a really holistic, maybe transformative environment.
Okay, so beyond the ashrams and the practice itself, Rishikesh has some really iconic landmarks too, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You've got Lakshman Jhula and Ram Chula, those amazing iron suspension bridges arching over the Ganga.
Yeah, you see pictures of them everywhere.
Exactly. And the fact that they're tied into Ramayana legends just adds another layer, historical, spiritual resonance.
Right. Adds to the story of the place.
And then there's Triveni Ghat, a major sacred spot where three rivers supposedly meet and where the Ganga Aarti happens every evening.
Ah, yes, the Aarti ceremony.
The descriptions in the sources are really vivid. The rhythmic music, all the flickering lamps being offered to the river, the chanting. It sounds like a really vibrant, deeply spiritual ritual, a core part of the Rishikesh experience for everyone, locals and visitors.
We should also mention Neelkanth Mahadev Temple.
Yes, a very revered shrine to Lord Shiva up in the nearby hills. It just further cements Rishikesh as a major pilgrimage site.
Yeah, and looping back to the Beatles' ashram, now it's a heritage site, right? Inside Rajaji National Park.
That's right. And it's remarkable how it's kind of evolved into this unique mix of pop culture history.
Yeah.
The old buildings covered in graffiti and spiritual murals.
It's such a tangible, almost surreal example of that East meets West thing we were talking about.
It really is. But what's also fascinating is how this deeply spiritual place also pulses with a totally different energy adventure.
Right. The other side of the coin.
Rishikesh is a massive global hotspot for whitewater rafting on the Ganga, especially that stretch from Shivpuri down to Rishikesh.
So that contrast we mentioned right at the start really comes alive there.
Absolutely. Contemplation and adrenaline side by side.
And it's not just rafting drawing the adventure seekers, is it?
No, not at all. The sources list a whole range of things, like bungee jumping.
They're the really brave ones.
Yeah, and kayaking for a different, maybe more intimate feel of the river.
Trekking, too, right? In the foothills around there.
Mm-hmm. Trekking, camping along the Ganga's banks.
It's almost like you can work on your inner peace and get your thrills at the same time. Find some kind of unique balance.
Exactly. It really challenges that stereotype of a purely quiet spiritual retreat.
Yeah.
Rishikesh seems to embrace both, the inward journey and the outward excitement of engaging with nature dynamically.
Maybe the common thread is just wanting a heightened sense of being, whether through stillness or through action.
That's a really interesting thought.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. What about the more sensory stuff, the food, the general cultural vibe?
Right. Well, it's pretty noteworthy that Rishikesh is legally a vegetarian city.
Oh, really? Legally?
Yeah. No meat or alcohol allowed to be sold or consumed. That says a lot about the prevailing sort of ethical and spiritual tone of the place.
It certainly does.
And the sources mention some popular cafes, like the Beatles Cafe, Little Buddha Cafe, again, hinting at that international influence.
Just hanging on.
Yeah. But then you also have the really rooted Indian food traditions, street food like aloo puri, kachori.
Classic stuff.
And local sweets like bal mithai, which is quite distinctive to the region, apparently. It keeps it grounded in its local identity.
And the overall vibe. How do the sources describe it?
As this captivating mix, really. You've got international visitors there for yoga and adventure, but the air itself is full of traditional India. Temple chants, the smell of incense, and always the sound of the Ganga flowing.
It sounds like a real fusion.
Definitely. And that unique blend comes through in the festivals, too. We already mentioned the big international yoga festival.
Right, the global one.
But then you have these huge, vibrant celebrations for Ganga Dussehra, Mahashivratri, Diwali, which really highlight the deep Hindu cultural traditions that are still so vital there. They draw massive crowds of devotees.
So if someone listening is thinking about experiencing this firsthand, any practical info?
Yeah, the sources give some basics. Nearest airport is Jolly Grant in Dehradun, about 21 kilometers away.
Okay, pretty close.
And the closest main train station is in Haridwar, about 25 kilometers. And importantly, it's well connected by road National Highways 7 and 58, so relatively easy to get to.
Good to know. And finally, let's just touch back on some of those really intriguing facts that make Rishikesh stand out.
Okay. Well, the Beatles' visit in '68, its ongoing cultural impact, popularizing Indian spirituality worldwide, that's still a big part of its story.
Undeniably.
And also, hugely important, is Rishikesh being the traditional starting point for the Char Dham Yatra.
Ah, the big pilgrimage.
Exactly. To Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath, and Badrinath. This just underlines its spiritual significance way beyond just yoga or adventure tourism. It's a major religious gateway.
That's a really key point. And what about the environment?
Ah, yes. The plastic ban. That's a telling detail, isn't it?
It really is.
Shows a real conscious effort to preserve that clean, eco-spiritual vibe, as one source put it.
Connects right into today's concerns about sustainability.
Absolutely. A commitment to keeping the area pure, sacred.
So, wrapping this up, what we've really seen is Rishikesh as this extraordinary meeting point, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah. Ancient spiritual ways and modern adventure.
Hmm.
They don't just exist side by side, they almost seem to feed each other. Deep mythological roots drawing pilgrims, spiritual seekers, right alongside this diverse global crowd looking for wellness, excitement.
It's quite a combination.
It really is.
So, thinking about this blend, ancient traditions, modern appeal, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? What's the future for a place like Rishikesh in our, rapidly changing world?
That's a big question.
And maybe more broadly, what other unexpected intersections, like the ones we see in Rishikesh, might hold some profound insights, not just about a place, but maybe about ourselves, about how different parts of life can connect? Something to think about, definitely. A great takeaway from this deep dive.